USFFL NFC South preview for the 2020 card set. Commish himself, Tim Irvin, has joined us. Hello, Tim.
Howdy, howdy.
Welcome aboard. Without further ado, let's hop right in to the Atlanta Falcons. My old squad. Know them well. What do they have in store for their new owner this year? Who's that new owner this year, Tim?
That would be John, wouldn't it?
I've lost track.
I think that's John Freeze, who moved from Atlanta.
From Houston.
You're right. I'm sorry. That's what I meant.
Let me just make sure we're on full screen. Looks like we are. Good. Okay. So Matt Ryan this year. It looks like roughly sort of the usual Matt Ryan card. Can do it on all three levels. No issues there. His pick is usually just a tad elevated, and yet here again it is a tad elevated. But it's not going to scare you on that short pass right interception, 2 through 4, 11, 12. You're not going to hesitate throwing short pass when you need to. Deep 2 through 7, 12, a little bit more intimidating, but now he gets this long gain 9. Don't think he had it last year. I want to say it was probably a 4 or a 10 last year. So he picks that up, which is nice, and then his usual good flat passing card. So, the question for Atlanta for the last, handful of years, half dozen maybe, has been, all right, well, we know we're going to have a good passing card. Do we have any threat to run? I mean, that's the question. This is usually pretty much what you see here. Nothing too unusual on the card for Matt Ryan. So let's take a look at those halfbacks. And, I think, Todd Gurley with a 3.5 average, I think we should be expecting the worst out of that. I think all of us walking into the season would probably think that 3.5 average would be a typical Atlanta card, which would mean very few short gains, even guessed wrong. Going to have, because he's mostly going to be running guessed wrong, going to have trouble, relying on the running game to move the sticks. Well, and you see Brian Hill with 4.7 and Ito at 4.3, all three qualifying with over 60 attempts. So all three are possible. So maybe you think more pop out of these guys and maybe something sort of plotting out of Todd Gurley. However, look at that. For an Atlanta halfback with nearly 200 carries, that's not bad.
Not a bad card.
No. Really haven't had this kind of complimentary card since the heyday of Freeman and Coleman, in the backfield. And even then, they were sort of, their value came from the receiving as much as their running. But hey, here you go, a bona fide, decent off-tackle wrong column to work with. To, perhaps keep those guess pass defenses at bay a little bit. That 9 yards on 4 is beautiful. Obviously, the short gain, going to be disappointed with the 8 for 2 yards. But hey, what Atlanta coaches are used to, this is not bad. And look at this keyed yardage too. Oh, wow!
Been a while since you've seen an Atlanta running game with a running back that can pull together like that.
Yep. He's not the best right runner, by any stretch, as you'd expect. But to pick up some keyed yardage at the goal line is not bad. I'd love to see more no gains keyed, but at this point we're into don't look the gift horse in the mouth. You got to be pleased with that. Not going to catch much out of the backfield, but hey, he has a long pass column too. Does Todd Gurley, so eligible to go deep if the need arises. Yak of C. And look at this, brings you some pass block. So really helpful to get 4 pass block out of your everyday halfback. Means you can keep them in pretty much in every situation. So Todd Gurley will serve a purpose here for Atlanta, no doubt. Now these bigger guys with these bigger averages, look at that. Well, no short gains, but very chunky 2 and 12. So you can pop some off with Brian Hill, but obviously he's not going to be your every down back. Gurley's the threat to get the guest run calls. You're probably not going to induce many with Brian Hill.
He has 100 carries, though.
Yep. So he'll be on the field from time to time, and he has a yak of beat. So that's helpful as well. No blocking. Ito Smith, 4.3 average. Even less going on here. And a second down and 2 might be helpful to bring him in. Maybe get you that first down to eat up a carry or two. That sort of thing. But otherwise, you're going to run and run. Well, there's not much payoff here. Yeah, those short gains appear, but you want to see some bigger stuff on the outside to really induce you to call that with any frequency. So the judge, Ito Smith, does not do much, and he's a yak of D. So that pecking order is pretty clear, and it runs right by the rush attempts. Gurley is your number 1 very clearly. Hill is number 2, and Ito is number 3. Really, just not the way the typical Falcons halfback situation sets up, and that is a good situation for John in this case. Usually, your second halfback is going to have a little more pop on Atlanta. He's going to have a little more guessed wrong, short gain action with a little more penalty if you're caught guessed run. So you sort of bring him in probably more than the Falcons actually did. Not the case here. Good set of backs. Really surprising as far as I'm concerned. With that the 3.5 average, I did not expect much from Gurley. Instead, very serviceable and very workable inside of this offense, because not only do you have Matt Ryan as the passing threat, Tim, but you also have, of course, these receivers. So,
yeah.
Calvin Ridley's the number 1 rated receiver in the set. According to the, you can use your own metrics.
That's an exceptional card.
Yep. But according to the ratings guide, this is number 1, and yeah, look at that. 7 long gain right. Who doesn't love that on the long pass? Max out on the short, Max out on the flat. Just does it all. He has taken huge strides.
Yeah.
Always thought he'd be good. I think that's for sure. I don't know how many of us thought he was truly the heir apparent to Julio Jones. As far as Stratomatic's concerned, he is. By the way, Julio Jones isn't running away. He's doesn't have a bad card at all. Long gains are absent.
For just 51 catches, that's a great card.
Yep. Damage everywhere, certainly a threat all 3 levels. And then his third receiver, Russell Gage, take a step down, but not bad. There's really not. You'd expect. We'll look at the tight end in just a second. Typically, there's an Austin Hooper in here or Tony Gonzalez in here. That really is a safety blanket for Ryan. That really doesn't exist this year. Instead, Gage, gotta like those flat pass. You see this a lot. You see this particular setup, flat pass right, for a lot of receivers this year, where they're getting good yards in here, 5, 6, 7, flat pass right.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah, to help move the chains. Gage doesn't get as many yards as the good tight ends do in this same sort of card setup, but hey, that's helpful. There's going to be plenty of 3rd and 5s, and that'll get it done.
I'm used to mostly the tight ends having the possibility of 10-yard plus on flat pass right, but you're correct. I've noticed in the cards this year, a lot of regular split ends, wideouts are seeing the double digit on flat pass right as well.
Yep, and good spots too, like that 5.
Yep, I agree.
I don't think we're getting much here, but let's take a quick look on these 20 catches. Yeah, we have some noise here. Okay. For a 4th receiver, happy to see those long gains there. What was his long catch? Long of 51. Okay, so that's effective. Hail Mary time and whatnot. He's going to be an option. He's not going to be somebody who is going to be capped out when you hit a long gain for short yardage. So as a 4th wide receiver, a weapon. So those tight ends, I think we all expected something decent from Hayden Hurst. I was a little bit surprised here looking at the card. not quite as dynamic as I hoped he'd be. But certainly not a bad card, but not particularly strong either. Looking at his stats, 56 catches, 10.2, gives you a pass block and a blocking block formation of 5. So
he's pretty good in the flat.
Yep. Yeah, pretty good in the flat. Not much else, but going to be relying on the receivers more than typical of Matt Ryan's reign with the Falcons. So, run pass dynamic works really well. Let's set up a Atlanta game here. I have New Orleans Tampa up. Should have set this up before we started. Take a look at the trenches for Atlanta. While I get that going, just reflect on that offense. I mean, that's the quarterback running back dynamic is where it's at. I mean, that's the bread and butter. That's where you make your living in strat. And for a mediocre team, this is one of the better run pass dynamics in what I call the battery of QB and halfback. So we got Atlanta and Carolina. Well, yeah, here we are. There's that. Oh, surface lost. Look at that. This one you don't want it. Stand by. Stretch. Okay, should pop up. Yeah, nice. All right. So let's look at the offensive line first. So who's protecting this fairly dynamic offense? Well, you got Jake Matthews doing a good job there. 5-0. Okay, we'll take that. 0-5 is not the worst thing to see. Alex Mack tipping in with not what he used to be, but decent enough. Right guard is your worst pass blocker so far, and that's a good place for your worst pass blocker to be. And then a 4 from McGarry. You probably are hoping for a little bit more there. But 4, 7, 11, 16, 23 a pass block for Atlanta. Compared to the NFC East teams we've seen, that's really good. For this division, well, we'll see. It's certainly a mixed bag, but not all bad by any stretch. Let's turn to the D. All right, we've got nothing there at left end. Grady Jarrett doing his thing. How many 6s in a row is that for Grady Jarrett, huh?
But their pass rush along the defensive front is way down, it looks like.
Yep, way down. Deion Jones comes up with a better, you probably were hoping for a 5-5 here. Doesn't get you quite that. So not much pass rush threat from this squad. Let's see what's on the bench. Nothing. So nothing for the defensive line and linebackers. Not much easy either to bring in terms of pass rush. So not a very dynamic front 7, but pretty good ratings here, right? Getting that 6, getting that 5, getting that 4, 6 up the gut.
Not too bad.
Yep, not too bad, not too good. Defensive backfield breaks down pretty bad. So 8 points in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, I'll bet they're giving up some pass yards. It'll be interesting to see their card.
So corner 0, yeah. So we've got a very good to excellent run defense and a very poor pass defense. We could see that coming, and there you go. Good run card, backs up the rating. There's one little short gain sitting out there and end run.
Very good, yes.
Gives up the off tackle 2 yardage, which a lot of good to excellence won't. You'll see a +4 there. Over on the pass side, -4 on 10 is nice, but completions on 5 and 6 for some decent yards. The rest is difficult to deal with. So here's your weakness, because you've got not only 8 and 9 the traditional setup here for Defender X, but you have an automatic long gain if you move that safety up on 5 and 3. So Strat is sending a pretty clear message to John.
Keep him at home.
Keep him at home. Yep. And even then, when you keep him at home, he's a 0 back there. So you're going to be bound to give up some yards, but
yeah,
it's not a good story here. Now over in the short pass card, not good either. You're giving up yards on 5 and 6, 4 men even.
Yep. You combine that without the protection of the pass rush they had a season ago, and that's going to be a difficult defensive recipe to try to maintain.
For sure. Interceptions, not bad for a very poor defense, actually. Considering that,
sure,
these are not bad INTs, but obviously not good either. Obviously, the flat pass is not going to happen. So, kind of what you'd expect from the defense. Special teams, let's see here from the penalty perspective. They are a little bit favorable. They get favorable via the 11. Gives them a slight favorable penalty card. Obviously maxed out punt. That's nice. Over field goal, they got one of the best in the game here. Look at that.
Very nice.
7, 11, 12 from deep.
Yep.
2 through 10 extra point. No block on the punt. A little bit weak here. 44 yards on 7. So a bit of a weak punter. Not getting much help from the return game. That's a wrap on Atlanta. Any comments before we move on to Carolina?
No. I think that it's a team that, anytime you've got an offense that can put up some points, you've got a shot. But boy, they're going to give up some points defensively with that pass defense, especially.
Yeah, it's that run D is helpful, no doubt. It's going to let you, it's going to give you at least the comfort of knowing that you're going to mostly be able to guess pass and on the guess wrong side of running, going to be bailed out by that run D. That's kind of a saving grace, but probably not enough. Yeah, probably not enough to prevent.
I think that a good run defense controls Atlanta. Looking at the cards, like I saw them.
Mm-hmm.
If you can sit there and just guess pass and rely on your run defense, you're going to have a hard time moving the ball, probably.
And there is a team or two that has a good run defense in here in this division. Perhaps a supreme one. But first, Carolina, Teddy Bridgewater. He's the main guy, and he gives you a very decent card.
Very nice.
Yep.
Got to be conservative with the deep ball, but really good flat pass. Wow.
For what you expect, for a last place team, this is decent.
So low on the interceptions that you can really attack with, comfort.
Yep. Can he take advantage of those must runs? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Nothing huge, but 2 through 5 is over 10, and then going to get you some first downs on the 9 and 8 as well.
What's his usage? Did he play the whole season?
He was injured a few games, and nonetheless had 492.
Yeah, pretty much.
He'll be in most of all 16 games unless something funny happens. The backup started a couple. I thought there was a third starter too, but I guess it doesn't matter. As you can see here, you don't want the backup in. More of a typical low usage backup here for Philip Walker. So with a decent quarterback, what shows up in the running game? Well, because of McCaffrey's injury, Davis carried most of the time. However, McCaffrey, look at that, 59. Look at that, Heartbreak Hotel for Carolina, just under. I don't know about you guys, but in week 17, I'm looking at all my backs, saying, all right, who's going to get to 60? Last year in my draft league stuff, Rex Burkhead, had to get over 60.
Talk about what happens at 60, Anthony.
Well, briefly. At 60, you avoid the low usage rule for the running back.
There you go. Okay.
And the low usage rule will 2 out of 3 times on the white die will on his own card will cause, no matter what the gain, if the gain is higher than his average, it'll revert back to his average. So let's just dive into McCaffrey here while we're talking about him.
Yeah, that has deterred me from using a lot of those low usage backs.
So you see McCaffrey is going to be limited to short yardage duty. He's got some key yards there, so he'll be effective, in a threat in a full house in the goal line. And in most of those guys who are low usage, that's where you got to sort of deploy them as short yardage, where you're just looking for a couple yards. You're not looking for the big pop. So those 14s, 14, 13, all that's going to revert back to 4 yards in most of the cases. Not a big deal if it's, second and goal to 2.
No doubt.
Can he catch? He can.
Yeah.
He can go deep. It's a nice little catch on 8. That's a weird one. 23 yards on 8. Guessed right.
That is odd. What's his yak? There it is. B.
Yep. So there'll be a use for Christian McCaffrey this year.
No doubt.
You'll see him on the field with frequency. However, Mike Davis will be getting most of the carries, and here's that card. Well, there's worse cards out there for sure, but there's better ones. So, you can try to establish a running game here. I mean, there's something to work with. There's not nothing.
Yeah, you've got the short gains on 7 on wrong, so you can work with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just missing some of the big playability, but the dude can run.
With 165 carries, a bit limited. It's going to be one of those teams that, like the Giants we talked about in the NFC East preview, sort of forced into more passing than they might want to.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's probably going to be the case here. Just not many rush attempts to go around. 165 as your lead and nobody else over 60. That's tough. Really tough to deal with. Interesting card is Samuel. And we focus him on the receiving side, you'd think, right? And there's his receiving card. It's a decent number 2 wide receiver card. But he can run too, but he is limited with the low usage rule. And how decent is it? Well, not that decent. I mean, it's okay. We got 45 yards there. So you might see him pop in toward the end of the half. But he's going to be limited from that low usage, so you probably don't see him too often running the ball. Rodney Smith. I see you're sort of looking for guest right running on these low usage guys. He doesn't have it. And his average reverts back to 4. Samuel at least gets you 5 when it reverts back to his average. So a little bit of a lopsided offense here.
Really relying on Mike Davis to come through there.
Yes.
An injury to him would really debilitate that team.
It would for sure. They do have a nice set of receivers to help Teddy out. Let's start with the split ends here. We just saw Curtis Samuel's card. Definitely a serviceable number 2 type of card. Nice flat. After that, on this side, we've got DJ Moore, who has a very nice card with his 18 average. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
So obviously not max catches, but he'll make them count.
That's a toy I want in Kansas City. That's beautiful.
And then, other than that, we got very low catches here. He's got an elevated average, just Cooper, so it's worth a peek. Not much. We're on the flanker side. Robbie Anderson's 95 catches. How about that for being under the radar screen, right?
Oh, he's a very good receiver.
Yeah. And he can catch the ball. So a pretty decent set of receivers. Maybe not Atlanta caliber, but not bad at all. In the trenches, we've got 5'7", 0'4" at right guard, 4'4", 4'3", and 4'5". 4, 5, 8, 12, 16, 23 again for pass protection. So a sort of what you call an average line. Okay, we'll have Carolina punted away on first down. And take a look at the D.
If you can use him judiciously with Mike Davis, I like what that offense can do, really, with those 3 receivers and a quarterback that doesn't turn it over.
Yep. There's something there. I mean, it's not
a decent line. I mean, there's enough there to work with offensively.
Yep, to be competitive, for sure. Yep. Along the defensive front, Brian Burns gives you some. 10 is a nice rating. You know, it really depends on your strategy. You know, sometimes you root for your guys not to have asterisks on the line. If you're going to be safety blitzing a lot, that low asterisk reading can get in the way of your free safety. Because, you know, a strat alternates between your asterisks. So if you have a low asterisk and your free safety is about a 10, you know, an asterisk on the defensive line can actually be sometimes, if you're safety blitzing a lot, can be a problem. So 10 is sometimes the ideal, 11 or 12 without the asterisk is the ideal pass rush rating. So Brian Burns brings that. Linebackers. Okay, no zeros. Shaq Thompson, 5'5". So, you know, it's a solid, not spectacular set. And then in the backfield, we've got 1-5, and then the rest not so good. So,
you know, the one thing is there's only 1 0 on the field.
Yes.
So that's you know,
yep.
There's no gaping holes that way.
That is true. So we've got average to good run, very poor pass. Here's your run D.
There's a short gain all the way across.
All the way across, yeah.
So that makes me nervous when you're calling it good, but okay.
Big yards linebacker, 1 linebacker. That linebacker is going to be a 4-4, so it might be difficult here to stop some things in short yards.
Yeah.
Pass is supposed to get worse, and it does. Look at that, a long gain on 9, which is the equivalent to 5, of course, on the other cards. They avoid the defender X on 8, so that's helpful. Instead shifts to the 4-10 spot.
Yeah, as long as you keep one man in the long pass zone, I mean, those defensive ratings slots are on lower probability places.
Yep. Even 0 men, you're going to get bailed out by that 8 every now and again, too.
Sure.
And the 5. But that long gain 9 will bite you. Yep. 5-6 again shows up. INTs lower than Atlanta. Look at this flat pass.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5. So
I was just looking at that.
Yeah.
That's rough.
That is tough to deal with. Yep, agree. Every single one of these QBs that you're facing in here. So you're facing Brady, Breeze, Matt Ryan. Right? And
all high percentage quarterbacks that on 3rd and short are going to be looking at this flat pass one man and knowing they can pick it up.
Sure can.
That's a tough one.
Even down here in these weird 11, 12-year-olds, you're going to get that yard or 2.
Including the snake eyes, too, because it's 2 through 11.
Yep. Moving to special teams. Penalty on 7 there is an issue. No doubt about that. Your opponent gets a 9 and 10. So the 9 cancels out the 5. So you are definitely on the wrong side for Carolina in terms of penalties. Great kickoff return unit. Not so good punt. How is the kickoff, I'm wondering here.
Joyce
Okay, so a lot of touchbacks going to happen. And good punter. 19 yards, not the best there.
98-yard kick return.
Yards, yeah. So that could come into play, especially against Tampa. What did we skip? We skipped. Skip anything? Nope, that's everything.
Field goal.
Field goal, right? Thank you.
2 to 4. That's a terrible long. I mean, he goes out to 39, but 2 through 4 is not that good on that long range.
See Bridgewater's snap fumble, 2.8. Let's check Matt Ryan's while we're here. 2.5. So they're both pretty good. No issues there. All right, that rolls us through Carolina. And leads us next down to New Orleans. Two pretty decent teams, right? I mean, two teams that you could see sort of in that 5 to 8 win range, and then maybe, depending on how the ball bounces with their out of division schedule, could wind up above 500. Atlanta was certainly with the edge, I would say, over Carolina. I'm sure you agree there.
Yeah, probably, and I think they both, the ceiling would be somewhere in the neighborhood of an even record.
So now the New Orleans quarterback's interesting here. So Taysom Hill, relegated to QB only duties. 390 attempts for Breeze means that he's probably playing every game unless he gets injured. So 390.5 divided by 16, 36 attempts with some good running backs there. They're not going to pass all the time. How the heck is Taysom Hill going to get his yards? Probably not. So he got 457 rushing yards.
Wow.
How does he get those? He doesn't. Unless there's an injury, he just doesn't. He's not going to appear on the field. He's not going to come in for, sub duty. Not allowed, correct? Can't just bring him in 3rd and 1. Is that correct, Tim? In our rules,
I believe that's right. But
yeah.
he would still be available as like a receiver, and
he's not. He's only as a quarterback card.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He didn't catch passes last year. They didn't play him.
He caught passes, but they did not give him a card.
You're kidding me? Wow. Okay.
I'm not kidding you.
They only carded him as a quarterback. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. A real
you're right. He's going to have a hard time getting those numbers unless Breeze gets hurt, even close. Yeah.
So it's a real funky card. It's worth looking at. I enjoy the card. Here's Taysom Hill's card. Very strong flat pass. Very strong. See the completions here as well on this 10 interception.
Oh, wow. Yes, indeed.
What
about the must run, though? You got to have that must run for short pass, right?
And then he's got, a must run. That's okay. It's better for sure, but he gets it so much. And the interceptions are low. I mean, yeah, it's weird they show up on 10, but they're very low. It's one of the more interesting cards out there, actually.
Yeah.
Dive deeper, and the strategies you could run with it, right? Because if you have good receivers, you can wind up, because people want to avoid this must run, you would think, happening so often, that you could end up guess wrong with some receiver opportunities.
Well, I agree, other than the must run that I saw isn't quite as it's not Lamar Jackson-esque or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Having to get all the way up to 5 to get that first down, run on 3rd and long or whatever, it's not that dangerous, I don't think.
It isn't. It just comes up. It just comes up so often. So the 9 is only 2 yards. Yeah, that's weak. That's weak. We saw pretty much every other quarterback showing 4 yards at 9.
Sure.
Right? So yeah, I'm with you there. And yeah, he doesn't do anything.
But you're right. It's going to be Breeze all the way, right?
Yep, it's going to be Breeze all the way. So it's really not a relevant part of the USFFL plan. And here we go with Breeze. This is not the card of last year where his short pass right column was just full of completions. Not that.
Still got that 9 long gain, though, which is kind of surprising considering the criticism he had on long balls.
Yep.
And he can really control the game from that flat pass, period. So.
Yep. The must run on 2, not going to happen very often. He's not going to do much with that. So Breeze is Breeze one more time. Enjoy it while you can. The running backs are a good set here. So Kamara with 187 carries.
Oh, yeah.
He can do some damage. Going to face a lot of guess wrong and really take advantage. Look at that end run. Oh no, I got 6 yards, right?
It's almost the same looking across that off tackle. Heck, even linebucker.
Yeah. And then, of course, he can catch the ball. It's one of those things with Strat. He's got his 52-yard catch down here. He's not going to get that. It's not happening. It's be very unlikely for him to pull that 52 out. Whereas if some of the some guys, Raheem Mostert comes to mind, where his plus 76 is on a flat pass.
Sure.
Column, And
Derrick Henry had one of those too.
Yeah, you'll probably see that twice in a season, where Kamara, who's a much better receiver than either of those guys, right?
What's his yak? Is he still an A yak here?
Oh, yeah.
He sure is. Yep. Okay.
So Kamara, very effective. All three zones, catch the ball. Murray's a B yak, and he can bring it too.
Oh, I love Latavius Murray. That's a beautiful card.
Causing problems. Catches better than you might think. Look at that, 9.8. Right?
Yep.
So dangerous. And then Ty Montgomery with a 5.3 average. What does he have to show? 19 carries. So let's see if he can do anything, take advantage of that. Nah, not really. So just 19 carries is going to be very limited. Not much guess right running. So not a bad set there. Michael Burton at fullback. Doesn't look like much, so we'll skip down here to the tight end. So Jared Cook, obviously the famous playoff issue he had. Otherwise had a spectacular year, and pretty good card here.
Very
16,
nice.
11, 9, 8.
Yep.
Flat pass right. Nice short pass. Enough to make you think about him. Deep. So a threat. There's a lot of tight ends, does New Orleans. But Taysom Hill not showing up. Also not showing up, absent from this list, is Josh Hill, who got a lot of snaps. Not carded. Troutman. Okay. Not bad. You can flip him the ball. You can flip him the ball at the goal line. Or 7, 9. With the 5-run block, that'll get him in the game on the goal line for sure. Down to the receivers. Michael Thomas. Injury issues. 40 catches. Not much long, but otherwise, he's a sort of a flat pass, short pass guy this season. We may never see a vintage Michael Thomas card again. This is certainly not. I'm rooting for him. Okay. Then we have Traquan. Not
that great
either. No.
Just doesn't do anything well enough to be anything other than an average weapon.
Deonte Harris, I don't think he brings much either. Nope.
No.
And then Callaway, also I think pretty weak. Yep. So
yeah, I didn't see a lot of yak there either. Did Traquan have the yak?
Let's see. Good question.
No, I don't think there's any yak out there really. I know Michael Thomas was in E as well. So yeah, there.
B for.
There you go.
He's only got 20 catches though, so you can't really rely on it. The split end is Emmanuel Sanders. Also E. And it should be a better card. Yeah. But we've seen better in this division already. He's no DJ Moore.
Certainly not.
And that's it. That's all you got. So, fairly weak set of receivers. Not the vintage New Orleans receivers that we've come to know and love.
But if we can see some run blocking to support that running game and combine with Drew Brees' flat pass card, it'll be, it'll be long drives like always.
Mm-hmm. New Orleans finished 13.
And I think they have a pretty good line, if I remember right.
Yes, that's correct. We'll verify that momentarily. Yeah, they finished 13-3, Tim. That's a lofty number.
You're not going to do that with a bunch of stiffs up in the trenches.
11-5. Interesting. Easy to forget that Tampa finished at 11-5, 2 games behind New Orleans. So, in the trenches, there's a 5-7 to start us off. 0-4 at left guard. Eric McCoy is 5'7", 5'5" for Orford.
Beautiful.
6'7", so a really strong line.
Left guard, pass block is 4. Okay.
Yep. And wait a minute, Josh Hill?
Yep.
I'm confused. Do we have the wrong? Did I get the wrong team here?
No.
Did I take the?
You're on the right team.
No, see Ted Ginn. I pulled the wrong team. 2019.
Oh, you pulled the wrong year for the Saints. Okay.
Like 13-3. I didn't even remember. Really? Let's see. Where they actually finish? Let's see. 12-4. Well, all right. Well, still ahead of Tampa. What's Josh Hill doing there? All right. So starting over. 5'7". There we go. 4-5-4. 5'5" for McCoy. Hole at right guard, which is where you want to hold if you have one.
No doubt.
And 6'7". So okay, good, solid line. One hole here, but in the right spot. He can run on this left side all day long. Weak side running. You can bring in 2 tight end. You got a 5 tight end waiting in the wings if you want 5-5-5 on the left hand side, or you can sub him in the right hand side and go 6-5 on the end. So pretty good setup there. Now let's turn to the D. Okay, 1-0, but he brings your pass rush. Nice pass rush there.
And then it should be Cam, right? Yeah, and that's pretty good. So that's a couple of good blitzers on the ends.
6 out here for DeMario. 5 against the run. Anzalone, not bad. Quan Alexander just sort of holding the spot. And then no zeros back here. No zeros in that backfield. 4, 4, 5, and 6. Pretty good. Good and average to good. That's a really nice card.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's the second time we've seen a good rated defense tonight against the run. And boy, they couldn't look more different from one another. This one looks more like excellent to me. I'd love to have that run D.
Mm-hmm. Really nice. Look at that. Even on 6s, 1, 3, 1 in the one linebacker, 4, 5, 2 up the gut, no linebackers. That's really nice. And with some good ratings up front to boost it. All right, things fall apart a bit here. But there's good defenders back there for the most part. Completion on 6. Flat pass pretty clean for the set. 5 yards is a lot on 6, one man. But incomplete 4 and 5. Nice.
Definitely got to keep that safety home against this with this defense.
Look at that nice interception there. No men 2 through 5, 11, 12. One man there 2 through 8, 12. Really nice pick.
Yeah, you got to think twice about throwing deep on them.
So there's things to work with here. I mean, there's issues, no doubt, right in here. But put it all together, pretty solid ball club. The special teams. All right, penalties are an issue. Definitely an issue. The opponent is on 2, 3, 11, and 12, and you're getting stung on 5 and 7. Wrong side.
Really nice special teams returns, though.
Returns are great. Field goal, well, that's not quite as good as we've been used to. 2 through 8, 12 isn't the worst out there, but not good deep. 2 through 11 extra points. Punters, all right. For the middle of the road. Pretty good kickoff. And then what do you got for returns? Busy return card here. Let's see. Deonte Harris is a beast. May have a long of only 42, but look at that reading on 9.
Oh, yeah.
So 5, 9, just killer. So Deonte Harris is very valuable.
Same thing on kick returns for him,
Yeah.
too. He's very good.
Yep. So Harris can help with field position for sure. Do we have? Let's take a look real fast here. Snap this ball. I'm just going to take a look at the reserves. The defensive line. Okay, you got 6 pass rush backing up. I don't know when he gets in the game. Let's see here. When is he going to get in the game? Would he get in the game here? Nope. He's only on the end. So let's back up in case of injury. On the linebacker side, nope, no pass rush there. Okay. I just want to take a quick look at Breeze's snap fumble. Just noting that Brady's at 1.8, by the way, while we're here. Oh, Taysom Hill's in the game. Get Breeze in here. Taysom's got 18.2 snap fumble, by the way. Pretty high. Brady, 5.8. High. I'm sorry, Breeze, 5.8. That's high for Breeze. I mean, it's not super high. It's not a huge worry, but, that's elevated. That's elevated. Okay. So, New Orleans can make some noise. So I think they're sort of forgotten about by many. How close they came. If their tight end made a catch, they may have gotten by in the playoffs. Instead, this team made it through the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, the only quarterback that matters, has a nice card with a long gain on 8 guessed right and also a 10 to boot. The interception is present as well, of course, but 8-10 guessed right, nice combo.
Very balanced card.
Can throw any level at any time. So, does he have anybody that's going to cause a guest run call? I think so. 192 carries for Jones, 97 for Fournette. Let's take a look at Jones's card. There's action here. So, right away, right, this stands out, this combo of Brady and Jones as the best in the division. Beating Kamara Breeze, I would say. Oh, I don't know. It's close. Get all those short gains on Kamara's card, right?
Yeah, I still think you're right. That as a combo, you got to take Brady and Jones here.
Yeah. It's close though. It's close. But those are just huge pops. Wow. He's going to hit those because he's going to be good. He's going to be guest strong often.
Yeah, if Snake Eyes is always a long gain, you're going to hit it at some point. Especially with Brady, mitigating the ability to call run defense.
And on your end run wrong, so the consolation prize is an 8-yard gain, right? Okay. I'll take that consolation prize.
Yeah.
If he doesn't hit his 25 on 4 or his 98. Really nice card there. Not much on the receiving card. Yak of C. Fournette compliments him. Looked really bad at the beginning of the year, but then turned it on. And you bring him in when you have to. I don't see an angle here of why you're going to get Fournette in the game.
Just to chew up some carries so your primary doesn't tire out. But other than that, yeah, that's what he would be functioning for.
Can only catch in the flats, but brings you a B of Yak. So a little upgrade there, I guess, versus Jones. So go back to Jones real fast again here. Yeah. And then Vaughn, I don't think he had much in terms of carries, 26. Nothing doing there. Yak of D. Jones's block was 0-0. Fournette's blocking is 0-0. Okay. So, run pass dynamic, check. Let's take a look at the receivers. Gronk, another guy who started slow but then came on. Nice flat pass.
Yeah,
17 yards on 5.
Look at that flat pass. 17. Wow.
So you're hunting for that. And then, you can certainly go all 3 levels.
Yeah.
Without much fear. Yak of C. Run block of 5 helps a lot. Cameron Brate, 28 catches. Lower than people thought he would have coming into the year. Not much of a card. Yak of E. And we got a offensive lineman. And then we got O.J. Howard. Only 11 catches. He's never come along. Always injuries by it. But look at that card.
Yeah, not that bad for 11 catches.
Yeah, so he could be a factor in the playoffs.
It's a good short pass card, really.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So when overuse doesn't matter, he could be helpful. Let's take a look at the receivers. A good group. Really deep, good group. So just 45 catches for Antonio Brown, but in limited action. And his card is nice. For 45 catches, that's a really nice card. Look at that. I don't think any of us would have imagined this.
Maxed out short pass. I'm wrong. That's great.
Chris Godwin, 65 catches last year, so a down tick, but nice card.
His yak dropped from an A rating to a D as well.
Mm-hmm. What's Antonio's?
It was a C.
Yeah. Scotty Miller made some clutch catches deep. What's he do? Here, he can catch it deep. Okay.
Yeah.
Sort of what you'd expect from Scotty Miller, which is, pretty good long pass column. Got it. Don't think we're seeing much from Tyler Johnson. 12 catches. No, not much. Okay. Now, on the other side, Mike Evans. Get ready. Boom.
Wow.
Nice. So, blows away the Saints receivers. Do the Bucs.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, offensively, Tampa Bay outmatches.
What was Mike Evans' yak again?
Evans' yak is D.
Yeah. So Antonio Brown with a C is their best yak. They really don't have a lot of yak going on there.
It's true. Their backs give them a little bit. That's about it. Let's take a look at the space. Let's kick this field goal here. And get lined up and take a look at the line. Left tackle, 5'7". Nice. There you go, 6'7". 5'4". 4'5". 5'7". Mint. Maybe the best offensive line in the league. I haven't looked at everybody's, but that's going to be a contender. Right?
Definitely a good one.
Definitely. Wow. 3 guys, 5'7" or better. Low snap fumble, as we noted before.
The worst blocker would be the center matching up with the high linebacker in a 4-3. So maybe if some of the 4-3 defenses have a good linebacker to blitz, they might be able to make some noise.
Yep. 3-4-D. Sue and Vea plug the run. Golston on the end. Not getting much pass rush here. Linebackers are, the reputation, of course, is strong. There's 4.59. That's good. Of course, a 6'6" for Levante David. Devin White, 5'10" on the inside. And then 4'11" from Jason Pierre-Paul. So, also candidate for best linebacking core.
Yeah. That's 3 amazing blitzers in the linebacking group.
No holes in the defensive backfield, but not a stellar set. We have a supreme run defense and average.
I've played against Tampa twice since the new card set came out. That supreme defense is really dominating.
There it is.
Yep.
Ouch. Look at that off tackle one linebacker column. One linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah, I hit that a lot playing against him. -4, -4, -3, right up the middle on off tackle. It's scary to run there, and of course that's where your short gain is. So,
Right. Yeah. High risk, high reward.
Definitely.
Really not much reward. I mean,
yeah. No. Better have your run blocking, elite. You better have some guys that can move some people, so you can get some of those ratings to work your way if you want to run on this card.
So does it come back in the passing game? Yeah, a little bit. Not awful, but not good.
Yeah.
5-long game there, and you got to test those 4s. All over the place, you're testing these 4s.
Yeah, I'd call that just a pretty average at best long passing defense card. You only have 1 incompletion there on 3 men with short pass. The long gains on an 11 rather than a 12. You got a couple of decent completions on 5, 6 for flat. You got some stuff there. You can move the ball, passing on that team a little bit if you can avoid the rush.
Right. Eye-popping kickoff return.
Yeah, it is.
I've never seen anything like it. Have you?
No, I have. Well, so I've played this team twice already, and so when I looked at my return and I saw, hey, I've got a touchdown on Snake Eyes, and then I saw that I had it 7 and 8, 50 and 53, and I thought, I think maybe there's a glitch in the game. I really did think there was a glitch. So I guess they must have just been awful stopping kick returns. That's crazy.
Let's just jump over to the kickoff. So 6 through 9. You're 8 yards or back, or 8 yards or 9 yards back, right?
Yeah.
And also 4. So, I mean, you're looking for a 5 or a 10 where you know that you're going to be, have a good shot of fantastic field position. Then if you have an excellent kick returner, well, then you're returning these.
And the other real advantage is if you've got one of those kick returners that has a touchdown, say it's in Snake Eyes or whatever, and so the odds are low, but you want to take your shot, but you really can't oftentimes with the new rules that are taking you 8 and 9 yards deep all the time, if you don't have some decent returns below that touchdown, so that you don't stick yourself at the 12-yard line all the time.
Yeah.
And so when you have the Bucks have that defensive card rolling out 50 and 50 plus on 7 and 8, it just increases the ability for somebody to say, I'm going to go for that touchdown on my card here. So that would be one thing that could cost them a game somewhere down the road.
So if you are New Orleans and you have Deonte Harris, right? Kickoff return.
Right.
That, right, which is not.
So you're going to get back out to the 20 on a normal return. You have a chance at that Snake Eyes, and then you're going to have these 50s sitting there in the middle, and by the way, down at 12. So it becomes, I don't know how else to, from a risk reward ratio, it becomes worth it to make a return. Whereas against a team that, has, and we saw one of those teams just a second ago, I can't remember which one it was, that had, 10, 11, and 12 on the opponent kick returns. And you're going to have to think twice about bringing that out and taking, you may not be able to roll for that 75 because you run the risk of being starting out at your 4 or something. So the Bucks are going to have to weather a special team storm that other teams won't have to weather because of that.
Yep, and they give up a little bit in punt return too. Long game.
Yeah.
Back over to penalties. They are slightly favorable. Actually, slightly favorable. Suck up is not a strength.
I guess not. Wow.
And then returning, not much there. Hunter is slightly above average. Tampa is the class of the division, Tim. They're the ones to beat, I would say, they've got the best run-pass dynamic by a hair over New Orleans, right?
They definitely have the pressure on the quarterback pressure over New Orleans with all those linebackers impacting like they're going to.
And then the run D.
Oh, and the supreme run D is enormous. Not just in how it stifles the run, but it will make people call pass more. And if anytime you know what your opponent's doing, you've got something going for you.
Receiver QB fumble rating of 0 for Tampa, so they're not going to give it away if they do get sacked, which is really helpful. New Orleans is 1, so good. Check the other guys too. Atlanta is Matt Ryan doesn't give it up too much. He's at a 1, and Carolina might have a problem here. I seem to recall Bridgewater fumbling. Let's see here. I bet it's elevated. No, it's 0. Okay, hey, surprise. So no real problems there. Really interesting division, but Tampa's the class. New Orleans right behind, but Atlanta can give you fits. The defense is a major issue, but they can give you fits and try to get into a 30, 40 point battle, last possession win sort of thing. Carolina, I think, can hang. Let's take a look at Carolina's schedule. They can hang outside the division. That's for sure. Inside the divisions will be the tougher sled.
Yeah, I think that it would take a lot of breaks, but I think that both Carolina and Atlanta have the potential to hit their ceiling and potentially sneak out a low seed playoff berth. But realistically, this is two teams here that are the haves and 2 that are the have-nots in this division. It's going to be an uphill climb for those bottom 2 for sure.
Out of division, Vegas. Looking at the Carolina schedule, Rams. So these 2 teams, the Raiders and the Rams, are very offensive, not much defense at all. So chance there. Arizona, certainly a chance there. Then
they do have
a chance there.
Arizona, Chicago, Detroit Denver, Washington. They do have some teams that were, on their schedule that are not that strong. So you never know.
Yeah. I mean, it's possibly in the cards. Carolina can make a little run at it if they can somehow end up, a game or 2 below 500 in division. They could end up well above 500 out of the division, and turn out a winning season. Atlanta's prospects start with Seattle, which is a tougher one. Dallas is a tougher one.
Minnesota.
They got a shot there. Tough one. So immediately you can see how Atlanta's not set up for success the way Carolina is out of the division.
Probably not. Not as much.
Yep. Tampa certainly, we'll talk about it more as we work through the divisions, but there's no reason to think Tampa shouldn't be right in the mix for the Super Bowl as they were in real life.
I think anytime you're sitting on a supreme run defense, you're going to be tough to beat no matter what you have around that.
All right, that wraps up the NFC South, unless you have anything else to add, Tim.
I don't, other than to say, hey, thanks for these broadcasts, Anthony. I do find them interesting. It's fun to take a look, and the previews have been kind of fun. And everybody pay attention for the next few days. We've got several things we'll be rolling out along the way here.
Yep, sure will. And I'm sorry, just one more thing. You get started right away. Look at that Tampa New Orleans week 1. Wouldn't it be nice to broadcast that one?
Oh wow, look at that. That is a good week 1 game. How about that?
Let's mark that down as a hopeful
mental check mark.
Yep. Excellent. Well, have a great night, Tim. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks, everybody.
So long.